Hi, I'm Sawyer Rose, and I'm a sculptor and painter, and this is my studio space. This is where I make my work. So come on in. This is my workbench, where all the good things get done. I have a lot of amazing power tools that I love to use. This is a drill press, and behind you, there's all kinds of sanders and drills and screwdrivers. It's important always to have your safety gear. So that's a big part of me making my work, is all these things to keep me safe.
I have made art since I was little, and I remember being in a toy store with my mom and asking for a toy, and she said, no, that's not what we're here getting. And then I asked for art supplies, and she went, well, yeah, okay. And I feel like at that point I figured something out. That my mom would, whenever she was able, whenever it was possible, she would say yes to art supplies. And I really did end up making tons of things as a kid. And then when I went off to school, I studied art because that seemed amazing, that art is a thing you can study in class. Like, that seemed so grand to me. As an adult, like I said, it's the thing that makes me happiest to do. I feel great when I'm working with my hands. To me, being creative is not just about making art the way that you think about it. Being creative is a way of thinking about the world, trying things out. You can be creative when you're, making a painting, but you can also be creative when you're making a sandwich, or you're rearranging your room, or you're trying, a science experiment. So my creativity is expressed through trying things out in my studio. Building it one way, it falls apart. I build it another way. But your creativity might be expressed through, finding out what things in your kitchen cupboard make an interesting slime. You can apply creativity to anything that you're doing. I have always liked to make art that educates people about something that I'm interested in. So I made a whole series of work, for example, about native Californian plants. And I let people know that, hey, these are the plants that live in California, and some of them are disappearing and we need to protect their habitats. But I communicated it through my artworks. So it was really fun for me to make. And I also felt like I was teaching somebody something. And now with this project, the Carrying Stones project about women's labor, it's the same kind of thing. It's something that I learned about, and I thought, hey, maybe other people want to know about this too.
So my sculptures are all from a project I've been doing for years called the Carrying Stones Project. And the Carrying Stones Project looks at all the different ways that women work and how much time they spend getting paid for their work and how much time they spend doing work that they don't get paid for.
So when I say women's labor, I mean all the different tasks that women do during the day. All the different jobs that they have, all the different chores they have to do, that sort of thing.
I hope that when people see my sculptures and see the portraits that go with them, that they understand how many important jobs women do, especially the important jobs they do that don't come with a paycheck. So for all of my sculptures, the title of the piece is the name of the woman, because I think it's really important that all the parts of the sculpture reflect the personality of the woman that I'm making about. So when I'm making choices about what materials I'm going to use or what shapes I'm going to use, I always try to think about the personality of the woman that it's about. So sometimes I've made some decisions about what I want to do for a particular woman's piece, and then it doesn't work out. It doesn't look how I thought it was going to look. That happens in pretty much every piece. So a lot of the artwork that I do, the hands-on work, is figuring out how to get that thought out of my head and into a form that I like. It never ever matches the form in my head. It never once has matched it, but it always my head is telling me one thing, my hands are doing the best they can to make that happen. But in the end, it's up to my eyes to tell me when what I have made looks good and looks right. So it's really a 3-part process, and I have long since let go of trying to copy the thing that's in my head, because it's a 3-part process: your head, your hands, your eyes. So the process I use when I'm making a sculpture is I find a woman that I want to interview about the work that she does, and I first talk to her about what we're doing and why we're doing it, and how she's gonna tell me how many hours she spends working. And then she'll use the app that I made I made a phone app that she can use to track her hours. So she'll do that for maybe 2 weeks so that I have enough data to make a sculpture out of. And then I do another interview with her, and I ask her questions like, is your life very organized, or is it kind of all just wild, it's different every day? And I'll ask questions like, are you a very organized person, or, it's kind of your stuff all over the place? And I use those questions to sort of abstractly figure out what her sculpture should look like, because I want it to seem like it has, her kind of personality. So then after that, I go in my computer and I make a drawing of exactly what I'm going to build. And I love these drawings. There's notes all over them. Everything has been marked up as I go along building the pieces. So this is what I use to figure out which part goes where, because each sculpture has like 100, 200, 300 parts. And then I come in here, and usually, the basis of the sculpture is probably wood. So I get to use my big saws and my big drills and all that. I do a lot of sanding, so it makes a big mess. So I work outside a lot of the time. I've picked up a lot of skills along the way just out of necessity. So, I wasn't a great woodworker until I needed to be doing woodwork, and then I learned it. My metalwork skills were adapted from the way that people make stained glass, and I just thought it was cooler if you could do it on a stained glass window, hey, you could do all kinds of things with that metal. So I just played with it until I found something new, a new way to use it. Fiber work, with cloth and sewing, I'm actually not very good at, but I don't let that stop me. Sometimes I'll just sew it to the best of my ability, and sometimes I will ask for help. But that's one that I've never become really good at, but I still kind of just managed to find a way to make it what I need it to be. So if I could tell young artists any one thing that I thought would be helpful, it would be just try everything. If you like drawing right now, that's great, keep drawing, but also try sculpture, also try music, and find ways to put them together that you think maybe nobody's ever tried before, and they might not work the first time or the third time, or but if you keep on trying new things, you're gonna find something that's unique to you, and that's a great thing to put out into the world. Thanks for coming to visit my studio.